Welcome to Conspiracist.
Great to be diving into this one.
Yeah, today we're launching straight into, well, a pretty fascinating idea, although, let's be clear, it's unproven. It's the hypothesis that governments have intentionally concealed evidence about something called the shadow of Nostradamus.
Ah, Nostradamus always captures the imagination, doesn't he? That 16th century figure. His book, The True Centuries, still in print after 400 years.
Incredible. Only the Bible beats it, apparently.
Right, and that enduring appeal, it really taps into that deep human desire to know what's coming, to understand the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the term itself, the shadow of Nostradamus, it's not like our sources give us a dictionary definition.
No, not at all.
So we kind of have to figure out what people who believe this theory might actually mean by it.
Exactly. It's speculative. It could be, a set of prophecies that seem way too accurate for chance, really specific stuff.
Or maybe evidence that Nostradamus wasn't just guessing, that he had some genuine prophetic skill.
Right. Something governments might find dangerous or want to keep a lid on.
Or perhaps specific predictions. Things considered just too sensitive, too destabilizing if they got out.
That's the core idea, I think, that there's something specific there, even if we don't know what, that's deemed too hot to handle. We're essentially looking at the idea of a cover-up around his work.
So, okay, let's explore the why. If governments were hiding something related to Nostradamus, what would the motives be?
Well, one strong possibility, and you see hints of this when people discuss his impact, is just fear of social disruption. Mass panic.
Like the anxiety reportedly caused in France by M. Jean-Charles de Fontbrun's interpretations.
Exactly that. If people widely believe disaster is foretold, it can cause real instability. Governments exist to maintain order, so suppressing that kind of potentially explosive information could be seen, by them at least, as necessary.
Protecting the public, in a way. Or maybe protecting their own power.
That leads to the control angle, doesn't it?
Yeah. Could some governments see an advantage in managing the narrative about the future, keeping people focused where they want them focused?
It's certainly plausible within the logic of the hypothesis. Control the information, control the reaction. Though, interestingly, some argue conspiracy theories themselves are used to sow mistrust.
Right. So it's complicated. Is secrecy the tool? Or is promoting the idea of secrecy the tool?
It's a bit of a hall of mirrors.
Yeah.
But the core idea here is concealment for control or stability.
And then there's national security. Could some prophecies be read as, revealing future attacks?
Yeah.
Or weaknesses?
You could imagine that scenario. If a verse seemed even vaguely to point to a specific threat, the instinct would be to classify it, surely. Keep it secret.
Again, that hinges on the prophecies being clear enough to act on, which is debatable.
Highly debatable, which we'll definitely get into.
There's also a counter idea, kind of the opposite of hiding powerful secrets.
Yeah.
Maybe governments subtly downplay Nostradamus.
How so?
To promote, a rational scientific view of the world, to discourage what they see as magical thinking, keep society grounded in observable facts.
So not hiding specific prophecies, but marginalizing the whole idea of prophecy to uphold reason.
Yeah, that perspective came up too. It's less about active concealment of a thing and more about shaping the intellectual environment.
Interesting. A different kind of control, perhaps.
But here's the crucial part, and we have to keep stressing this. Despite all these potential reasons why someone might want to conceal something, our sources just don't provide any direct evidence. No smoking gun, no leaked memo saying hide the Nostradamus files.
None whatsoever. No whistleblower accounts, nothing concrete pointing to a specific government effort regarding this shadow of Nostradamus. It remains a hypothesis.
Built on inference, really.
Yeah.
Speculation based on the enduring mystery.
Precisely. We've talked about the logic that could be behind it, but the actual proof in the materials we looked at, it's just not there.
Okay, so let's shift to the counter-arguments then, because there are quite a few. A big one is the nature of the prophecies themselves.
Their vagueness, you mean?
Exactly. Source after source points this out. The quatrains are often so ambiguous, so open-ended, that you can kind of map them onto almost anything after it's happened.
That's a fundamental critique. And his style. Deliberately obscure, using multiple languages, Greek, Latin, Italian, Provençal.
Right, which creates this huge barrier right from the start. It's not like reading a clear instruction manual.
Not even close. This ambiguity makes the idea of hiding one specific, dangerous meaning seem less likely. How do you pin down smoke?
Good analogy. And then there's the issue of how the text itself has been, messed with over the centuries.
Oh, yeah. Enthusiasts altering spellings, playing with punctuation, inserting things.
All to make it fit a desired event.
Right.
Like forcing a connection.
Absolutely. Some sources really detail this, the use of anagrams, phonetic substitutions, complex calculations, often on very shaky ground. It suggests interpretations are often built rather than found.
So the prophecy might be more in the interpretation than in the original text.
That's a very strong argument.
And what about the predictions that just failed? The forum discussion mentioned some.
Yeah, the supposed Lincoln prediction, something about a scandal in Iowa. Examples where the verse just didn't match reality at all.
Looking at the misses is important, isn't it? It balances out the tendency to only focus on the supposed hits.
Crucial for perspective. It highlights the unreliability if you treat them as consistently accurate forecasts, which they don't seem to be.
There's also a psychological angle to this. Research suggests belief in conspiracies, like this potential cover-up, can be linked to certain ways of thinking, like a general distrust of authority, seeing the world as inherently dangerous.
And that tendency to find deep meaning in things that might actually be, well, meaningless or vague. Bullshit receptivity, as the researchers termed it rather bluntly.
Yes. So the appeal of a Nostradamus conspiracy might be less about evidence and more about sort of a pre-existing mindset.
That's what the psychology suggests, yeah. It offers an explanation for why these ideas persist, even without strong proof. It resonates with certain cognitive biases.
We should also mention the Hister example. It's classic.
Yes, Hitler.
Widely claimed as a prediction of Hitler, but, as several sources point out, it almost certainly just referred to the Ister, the Lower Danube River.
It's a textbook case of how a vague term or a geographical reference gets retrospectively latched onto a major historical figure. Context and linguistics get ignored.
Yeah, that retroactive fitting. It keeps coming up.
It does, which connects to the problem of post hoc interpretation.
Meaning identifying the correct prophecy only after the event.
Exactly. If you only find the match once you know the outcome, how can you prove it was genuine foresight? It could just be pattern matching.
Especially with such ambiguous source material.
Precisely. The vagueness allows for countless potential matches with past events. Distinguishing coincidence from prediction becomes incredibly difficult, maybe impossible.
And we know Nostradamus himself made his writing obscure on purpose.
He did. Multiple languages, complex symbolism, maybe for self-protection in his time, who knows?
But the effect is it makes definitive interpretation harder and just opens the door wide for speculation.
Absolutely. It fuels the mystery, contributes to the debates, and allows for all these varied readings to emerge.
And what about the role of the media in all this? Popular culture?
That's definitely a factor. Things like TV documentaries, sometimes focusing more on the sensational aspects.
Like the History Channel mentions we saw. Maybe not always with the most rigorous fact-checking?
Potentially, yes. Amplifying certain interpretations can build the legend, although there was that interesting observation, too.
About the internet maybe reducing the mystery, compared to, say, the 90s.
Yeah, that maybe the sheer volume of information now, accessible to everyone, makes him seem less uniquely mysterious. Information and disinformation are everywhere.
It's an interesting thought. Finally, there was that warning, related to biblical prophecy, but maybe relevant here.
About the dangers of misinterpretation.
Right. Spiritualizing things inappropriately, or cherry-picking verses to fit an agenda, ignoring context.
It's a general hazard when dealing with any predictive or symbolic text. The temptation to find what you want to find.
Definitely applies to Nostradamus, too.
Without a doubt. Selectively focusing on apparent hits while ignoring misses or context issues is a common pitfall.
So wrapping this all up, we've gone through the arguments for why governments might conceal something called the shadow of Nostradamus.
Fear of panic, need for control, national security.
But ultimately, the sources we examined just don't back it up with direct evidence.
No, they really don't. The hypothesis remains intriguing, imaginative even, but unsupported by proof within this material.
Instead, the evidence points much more strongly towards other explanations.
Like the inherent ambiguity of Nostradamus' writing itself, the challenges of translation and interpretation over centuries.
The documented manipulation of the text by some enthusiasts.
And those psychological factors that can make conspiracy theories appealing, regardless of evidence.
It seems the mystery endures more because of the text's nature and how we humans try to find meaning, rather than some grand hidden secret.
That certainly seems to be the more grounded conclusion based on what we've looked at. The complexity lies in the verses and our interpretation, not necessarily in a vault somewhere.
Thanks for listening to Conspiracist.